several different variables. I think self-awareness is number one. If you don't know yourself and you don't know what you're good at, you've got no shot because you're gonna be spinning your wheels. I think work ethic is at the top. Nobody watching this right now knows anybody that's successful at all that hasn't put in serious amounts of work. Very quickly, I can tell you, you need to get every voice out of your head besides yourself, and you need to love yourself. You will win. Can't live your life based on other people's point of view. I am tired of people not starting and living their life on one very simple thing, which is they're worried about what other people think. Learn the work ethic and the skills that match your ambition. You get to live life one time, and this is the time right now to understand what's actually happening and actually map your behavior to something that will impact you for the next 80 years. Pay attention to who's giving you the advice. Who's giving the advice? And more importantly, if you live your life where you're comfortable taking somebody else's point of view on how you should live your life, you deserve to live. Figure out what puts you on fire and you're halfway decent at, and become tunnel vision. I only want one thing for people that I have. Really, outside of health, the only thing I wish for people is them to love what they do as much as I do. It's not that you can't, it's that you're not willing to give up dumb for a better life. It's very, very simple. Put yourself in a position to succeed. Figure out who you really are and figure out if what you're talking is being mapped by what you're doing. Whose permission are you looking for? Go do your thing. You're gonna die. I just can't explain to everybody like clearer, when you figure out who you are and do all that, you win. Regardless of what you're trying to accomplish, you've got to tell the world about it. This is now the world. If you're not betting on this, you're finished. If you're not betting on this, you're finished. If you're not betting on this, you're finished.
What's up, man?
What's up, Matt?
Hey, man, you know, it's crazy, dude. You just met Nathan McMasters. Actually, he's a close friend of mine yesterday.
Life is crazy.
Yes, I know you want me to be quick. Just how to fight through the bull and just be successful every day.
Okay, so let's define your parents, work, boss, failed businesses, your own head. Like, what's your...
Trying to finish my GED and get into the Army right now.
Okay, so is that a process? Like, that doesn't sound like, that sounds like something in front of you that, what, you don't like it? Like you just hate school the way I did, and so just even getting the GED is a pain in the... But once you get done with it, you're pumped because then it gets you into the Army, because then you're able to get what you want from the Army?
Yeah, because I mean, my plan is I'll try to do a 2-year enlistment with the Army, and then try to use my GI Bill to pay for acting school. Well, that's the end all goal, is to try to get into acting some way.
So this is where strategy really matters. My question is, for some reason, and normally society and parents, you've decided acting school is the best way for you to become an actor in a world where many actors become actors without going to acting school.
Yeah.
Like my question is, instead of getting a GED and going to the Army and then going to acting school and spending the 4.5 years before you even get an at-bat, what about making skits on Instagram and YouTube with your homies, or just going to LA and just hanging around actors and making skits to then get discovered to become an actor?
Yeah.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. This is why I decided to take these 7 minutes. Like, I'm here with you, brother. This is me and you. So like, have you put school on a pedestal as the gateway to become an actor? Because so many people in 2019 don't go to acting school to become an actor. And I'm like, he's GEDing it to get into the Army. Army's no joke. You got to do the Army. Then that helps you pay for acting school. That's another, I mean, we're talking about 4.5 years before you even get an at-bat. And as I'm on live, my man like is leaving a comment. He goes, "You'll get that gig having millions on social media more than acting school." This is a very important question. Why school to become an actor in your brain? Answer that for me.
Because I just feel like that's kind of what I've been like. That's kind of just like I was in school. Like you go to school, to high school, to college. I feel like that's just kind of the route that works. You know, I feel like that's kind of what I've been taught and seen in front of me is how that works.
And when I spit the concept of Instagram and YouTube and just going to LA and being a waiter and networking with people that make content, and then if you've got the talent, you've got it, and you get discovered, does that sound like an alternative? Does that sound crazy? Does that sound like a lottery ticket? Like, how does that sound?
See, like to me, that just sounds like something I could get immersed in. You know, it's just like, I don't know, like that doesn't sound right at all to me. That sounds, you know, that sounds maybe actually how you're supposed to do it now more so than, you know, 10, 15 years ago. That sounds like something that is what exactly happens now, you know?
So what makes you then not want to? Are you a family of military and you want to do the Army thing? Are you doing the Army thing because you don't want to go in debt in acting school? Like, talk to me.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. Like, I mean, my grandpa was a Marine. Like, my dad was in the Army. You know, and like when like my freshman and sophomore, when I kind of like rediscovered myself, my freshman and sophomore year of high school, you know, I was kind of like a jock, and, you know, and I kind of went life about that way. You know, I played basketball, football, and then once my grades started slipping and I couldn't play sports no more, I was like viewed different, and you know, I could just see how people change, like their, you know, just how quick stuff can change for you. And so I think, and I kind of slipped into not like a deep depression, but you know, as I've grown up, I've seen how kind of stupid maybe I've been to allow myself to be at such a low point because of that.
You're not stupid, you're just a human. Feelings are feelings. Like, you valued yourself based on other people's opinions about you, and when you weren't an athlete, people's opinions about you changed.
Yeah.
Now my biggest question, whose opinions do you value? For real, like if we're here, like think about the math around us ever having this phone call. It's low. So let's be truthful here, straight up. Whose opinions do you value?
I would probably say I value only a few people. You know,
Talk.
just like
who?
My family,
who?
My girlfriend.
Who in your family and your girlfriend? Who?
My father, my mom, my grandfather, my girlfriend Ashley.
Awesome. So let's break it down. I would assume, based on what you just told me, that your father and grandfather think it's a good idea for you to go to the Army.
Yes.
My biggest question is, do you think that? Or do you think that because they think that?
Well, I mean, as just like a foundation aspect of it, I believe it will be, but
do you think you can get that foundation somewhere else?
I mean, yes, I do. I believe I can.
Where?
Well, maybe like just like you said, you know, just keep cracking at it and maybe find myself in LA or something like that, doing something, maybe working some minimum wage job or whatever.
Let's talk about it. Do you think that your father and grandfather specifically would be devastated if you're like, listen, change of plans. I want to be an actor, and what I think is now the right way to do that is to just go to LA and make content on YouTube and Instagram and give myself 2 years minimum wage, living humbly, but living out my dream to even see if I've got it?
No, I don't think they would view it as, you know what I'm saying? I think they would be, what they would want more so is just me to be safe and be able to pay my bills. I don't think it would be something to where they're extremely disappointed.
Well, it sounds like you have a great grandfather and father then.
Yeah.
Listen,
I mean, obviously it would be, you know, they would probably rather me go into
sure.
the army.
Rather versus be devastated are two very different things.
Yeah.
My man, there's so many ways to do it.
Yeah, I know.
I ran a liquor store for 11 years.
Really? 11 years?
11 years. My path to Instagram and YouTube subscribers does not look like most.
Yeah.
If you want to be an actor, if you're asking one man's point of view, and I can be 100% wrong, the thought that GED to Army to acting school feels less right than going to Los Angeles, working at Fatburger, and DMing every single influencer that makes content for them to have you in their skits.
Yeah. Well, man, that sounds good to me, man, you know? It's just all about I don't know, I think it's the way I think too sometimes, you know.
Bro, everything's about the way you think. This whole game's the way you think. The world's about how you think. Perspective is the jam. Like seeing in your head is the life. It's the difference between happiness and sadness. It's the difference between success and failure. Everything's about how you think. That's why I'm sitting here on the phone with you 8 minutes and 40 seconds right now to give you a seed to think about it different, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, this is where I would like, where do I start, even how to get over there? Like, I don't know nobody over there.
Take a bus.
Yeah. Well, I live in North Carolina. I live across the water.
Take a bus.
Yeah.
Take a train, drive, hitchhike, or take a plane. You got some dumb in your closet, sell it on eBay and buy a plane ticket.
Yeah.
Go on Craigslist and find a roommate.
Yeah, I know it's possible.
Of course it's possible. Millions of people do it. The question is, are you hungry enough or are you soft?
No, I believe I'm willing to do it because following you, I hear that, each, and I feel like people that, unless maybe they got a struck of just complete luck, that's what they've at least had to eat a little bit.
Everybody ate, my man, every single person that's made it, they ate, did the work. There's people that inherited money. There's people that have won the lottery. Let's stop thinking about those people. Everybody spends all their time thinking about those people. Those people are enigmas. They're anomalies. They're the 0.00001%. They have nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
The 99.999 that made something of themselves, they put in the work.
You're right.
I know I'm right. Everybody's fixated on 4,000 people, while there's 7.7 billion people who worked or didn't and then failed. What do you mean how to start? You don't know anybody? Of course you know somebody. Tweet an Instagram right now. Be like, who's in LA? You know who's in LA. Your former teammate's sister. Your friend from high school's uncle. People are in LA. You know 30 people in LA. You haven't asked.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, I mean, you're right, dude.
I know I'm right, dude. And I want it for you.
No, I appreciate that.
And the best part is you might suck at acting, but you need to find that out.
Yeah.
Get your North Carolina ass to LA. Take Ashley with you and go. Live your life. Don't buy into an antiquated process. You can act tomorrow.
You're right.
I know I'm right. Now, are you scared to find out that you suck at acting? That's a different mental game.
Well, I feel like I would be mentally prepared for it because I don't think I would suck, and that's kind of maybe where the school would kind of come into play. But I mean, I just know that, for a few years now, I've just been so interested in just the way movies work.
My man, acting. I'm ending with this because I gotta go. Scratch that itch. Scratch that itch that you're interested, because you don't want to live with regret one day and say, when I was 20, I wanted to know if I was an actor, and I ended up not being an actor because the military took me a different route, and I ended up this. Like, go scratch that itch. This is exactly when you can afford to be high risk, because you're young enough that you can eat Sonic burgers all day long, and like romaine, or what's that called? Roman noodles or ramen. Like, this is when you do it. And by the way, I'm gonna save this live stream. I'm gonna end it right now. I'm gonna post it. You can rewatch it. And 50 people invited you to crash on their couch during this stream.
Wow, dude.
So rewatch it, click on their Instagram handle and DM them and be like, I'm coming. Dude, you need to be in yes culture, not in overthinking all the variable culture.
Yeah. Wow, dude.
Perspective.
Yeah, it is, man.
Most people do a ton to protect themselves from ever finding out their truth.
So I just gotta go find my truth.
100%. You're putting school and then army and then school again on a pedestal, all to not allow yourself to find your truth.
You're right, man.
I know, man. Failure is what scares people.
That's true.
Get unscared, my man.
All right, man.
All right, man.
I appreciate it, dude.
See ya. Love you. See ya.
Love you too, bud.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Our goal is to just pay off our debt.
Yes.
You know, we just surrendered and said we're gonna go insurance and just kill it, and it failed. And we
Okay.
lost everything.
That happens.
I'm in conflict because I'm tired. We got 3 kids. I don't sleep.
Yep.
I grind.
Yep.
Yeah, and I'm tired.
Yep. And so I understand all that. That all makes sense. So what's the question?
How do you know, like, without risking it again? How do you know to just take the leap again? Like, I don't want to lose no more.
You're looking at the past.
But I struggle so hard with my anxiety, like I can handle it. So
It's coming from one or two places. You're allowing somebody else to judge you, or you're judging yourself.
myself.
I'm telling you, the number one thing that fascinates me about people is they take the past and give it so much credit, and they underestimate the current and the future. You're looking dead in the face of getting results, yet the fear of the replication of something that happened before is stopping you from going. So I think this is about making a decision and not dwelling or pondering on what if, because what ifs cripple people. You will regret not going for it way more than if you fail a second time. Everybody here right now can sit here and say a what if about something. I should have stuck with Paul. I should have invested in Facebook. Like what if scare the out of me. So taking action is, especially if it doesn't cost you money and it's just time, is always a better answer than pondering or thinking or trying to decide if this is gonna work. You don't know. The learning of the failure is as equal to the victory of it. I'd rather lose again. Like what? Like what? You can lose your house. Like people are scared of things that aren't real. People are scared of things that are not real. Like nobody knows what's gonna happen tomorrow.
So how do you, and I'm sorry.
It's all right, go ahead.
How do you deal with the unknown? Like when it comes
By recognizing I have no choice. You guys got love for each other and those 3 kids, you could be homeless and happy. You could. You could. You could. I mean, it might not be ideal, it might be better, but like I'm just trying to ask people what they're scared of, and what they're scared of, if they go all the way to the core, is other people's opinions. By not worrying about what other people think, it allows you to do things. By doing things, you either win or you learn from your loss, and it creates speed. It's the absolute mental difference between the people that are executing and winning versus the people that aren't. It's the fear of others. I don't want to lose, but I'm definitely more disappointed than your opinion in your blog post about my loss. I'm just looking at you two, I'm like, they're in love, that's good. So guess what? You're in a place. What do you need? What? You need Netflix? Netflix. Like, what do you need? Like, I'm confused by people creating these fake frameworks. And so I navigate happy because I'm just grateful for what I have, and other people have more, other people have less. When I had a whole lot less, I was happy with what I had, and I just every day recognize that if I'm in my own head and realize that everybody's got their own do, then I don't spend time complaining and dwelling, I spend time on doing. You wouldn't be scared if you realized the worst case scenario is it'd be worse. There'd be 3 of you, right? But like what? Like, I'm telling you right now, those kids are not gonna lose if you guys are losing. It's gonna make them stronger. They all have different personalities, but if you're instilling the right values and showing them love, they're gonna win. I'd much rather have loving parents that were homeless and instilled that in me than successful parents that were doing the wrong thing. I'm gonna have a better life. That's been proven. People are scared of other people's judgment. People are scared of other people's judgment, right? What are people gonna think if we lose our home or we lose again? You're pondering. You lack the confidence because you're worried about what people say. I like losing. That's why this is all so easy. I don't give a if you said I lost. Man, I'm telling you, Rocky 6, I think that's the one, where he went back to the beginning, right? When he lost everything. It wasn't a good movie. And that's my favorite one because he went back to 0. And it's not that scary. Who are you scared of? It's insecurity. Insecurity is poison, massive poison. Like, stop looking backwards. It's just, it will slow you down to where you're going. You do you, but don't say you're gonna be great unless you realize you have to become obsessed. Like, you can't be the best at something in the world passively. Yo, what up, bro? You're here with Aubrey Marcus and I. What's your name? Where are you from?
My name is Alex Browning. I'm from Athens, Georgia.
It's awesome, man. Thanks for calling. What can we answer for you?
So I am a aspiring chef. I'm in culinary school right now. I'm trying to make a side hustle sharpening knives. Where do you think how do you think the best way to approach this is?
Well, what do you mean? Like, you want to get paid for sharpening knives?
Yeah, going around every restaurant, it seems like it's going to be the best way to continually make money on the side.
I love this idea. I'm going to give you a tremendous piece of advice that too many people that are ideological and don't actually play in the game push against, but I believe in it the most. You should go sharpen knives for 5 restaurants for free.
For free, okay.
Yep. Like I spoke for free for the first 13, no, I actually got paid for the first one because that's how it also, for 13 of the first 15 times I ever spoke, I spoke for free, including paying for my flights. It's one thing to do free work, it's another thing to do free work with heavy strategy. When I do free work, I try to think of 2 things. How much exposure is it? Like Tyler will tell you, sitting right here, one of the only times I still do free work is if it's massive exposure. There are 49,000 people in the audience. I'm like, it's a lot of exposure. You know, like it's live on, you know, it's during the Super, like I'll pay somebody to put me in a Super Bowl commercial, right? Like when I get exposure, and that's where I'm at now. For you, when you pick these 5 restaurants, let it be the biggest restaurants in your 30-mile radius. Let it be the kindest. Let it be somebody who has the biggest Instagram following, and maybe like whether you never want to give with expectation, but it's okay to ask. You're like, hey, I'd love to sharpen your knives for free. And then like you get in there and the vibes are feeling good. Maybe you're like, hey, listen, like I hope you enjoyed it. Like, wouldn't mind to take a picture for my Instagram, which then makes them say, oh, we'll put you on our Instagram. Like, you can be thoughtful and do it the right way, but if nothing else, if you do it for free for 5 people, you've established that you do it. Word of mouth is a remarkably fascinating thing.
And sharpen the out of those knives too.
Oh,
like
yeah.
kill it. Like kill it. Make sure you're
key.
the best knife sharpener there is.
Great point by Aubrey. The amount of people that have gotten into my inner circle have sat right out there. They're now on the cusp, but then aren't here 9 months later because they weren't good at their craft or they didn't squeeze the out of their opportunity. That happens too, and I think sharpening the out of those knives really matters. Look, bro, hard work is the cost of, like, there's nobody that's ever been successful that made it that didn't put in hard work. There are people that inherited money. Like, there are people that have money that didn't work hard. There's nobody who's made it. They made it. The merit of them making it that didn't put in ridiculous hard work. That person does not exist. That person does not exist.
Yeah. And do you think there's like
But for whom matters too, right? These things matter. You sharpening those knives for a restaurant owner who was just thrilled to get some knives, sharpened for free, feels no guilt or has no interest in co-signing you, and it dies in that kitchen that night and nothing happens, also sucks. But I will say this, somebody's always watching. So let's play this out. You go and sharpen this is why I fully believe in this system. You go to the number 3 restaurant, you sharpen the knives. The owner's got nothing for you, doesn't say it to anybody, doesn't put you on Instagram, doesn't even thank you correctly, and you're out. But the sous chef was watching how hard you worked, and she in 3 years opens up the number 1 spot, and now do you understand? Somebody's always watching. It's funny, like you look at, there's people out there, whether it's Kobe, it's definitely what I push, there's people out there saying, look, you do you, but don't say you're gonna be great unless you realize you have to become obsessed. Like, you can't be the best at something in the world passively.
Yeah.
You have to punt everything.
Yeah.
And if you don't want to be the best in the world or a top 100, that's amazing. And like, then you can canoe in the afternoon and like go to a coffee shop and just chill. But if you want it, like, to me, it's just make your actions map your words.
Yeah.
You don't need to work on your craft 18 hours a day, but then also don't have the audacity to ever say you're gonna be great or all time. I keep telling people, Magic Johnson, 2 hours before he took the bus as a kid, like that's what his sisters always tell that story. Larry Bird, like taking 1 billion shots in that crickety old, like again, and I'm gonna say it again because it's very real to me, like when I garage sale, as a hobby on a Saturday and wake up at 5:30 after working super hard, and this is supposed to be like rest and this and that, like that 4 hours of garage selling and negotiating and seeing what's popping, and like I'm working on my craft.
How do you decide what to do when you feel you're good at a lot of stuff?
You pick one.
So you don't waste your time.
You pick one.
Well, how do you know which is the right one?
You don't.
How do you deal with the unknown? Like when it comes
By recognizing I have no choice. I think it comes down to perfection and like trying to make the right perfect call, and I think that the right perfect call 9 out of 10 times is the fastest call. So I tend not to overthink at all. I'm very intuitive, and most of my business mistakes have been to act too quickly and then have to bail out. I have found that speed trumps everything. Too many people are crippled by the right hire, by the right meeting. I say work harder, work more efficient, make more 15 and 30-minute meetings that leave you more time to do more things, and create more opportunities, and don't be crippled by choosing the right opportunities or not. I believe one of the most fascinating excuses in life is that I'm so good at so many things that I don't know which one to pick. So many of you are not taking action because you overthink it. You overthink it. You overthink it. I think the thing that bothers me is that people are crippled by their options and then actually aren't doing anything in parallel. They're lollygagging while they decide. If you're so good at so many things, you'll pick one, you'll be good at that, and you can do a bunch of things. I'm doing a bunch of things. You need to be doing, right? You need to be executing. So if there's 3 to 4 tangible things going on in your mind, you need to make sure your internships, your free time, you know, whatever you can do to let you taste them and get context around them is what really matters. I always say deploy your resources that you can afford to lose. A lot of you don't have the dollars. I used to not have the dollars, but I had my time. Taking action is, especially if it doesn't cost you money and it's just time, is always a better answer than pondering or thinking or trying to decide if this is gonna work. You don't know. And one of the smartest things I do as an entrepreneur and a business person is I do things so I can understand whether they work or not. There was never a day in my life where I didn't have something that I called the 80% of what I do.
That's right.
What I think you need to figure out is you've got to create at least 1 burger. I've got 4, right? You need to have 1. You can go and have side dishes, and if your steak is perfect, you'll always be able to absorb the losses because they're smaller losses. I think a lot of people just eat the potato or the pickle or the onion or like I have the burger, Wine Library, VaynerMedia, my personal brand, investing, those are my burgers. Because what the burger does is allows you to create the wealth creation or the financial stability that allows you to go flirt. And then when something over here becomes bigger, you can turn that into the main part and that could become the steak. Too many people have all side dishes and no steak.
Do you ever get anything wrong? What do you do when you make a mistake?
I get everything wrong. It's just that I can't recall it because once it's wrong, I'm moving on to the next thing. I passed on Uber twice. When they were raising money at a $4 million valuation, I passed, even though Travis is one of my boys and I think is one of the best entrepreneurs in the world. Had I wrote a $25,000 check into that company like I did the other companies, it'd be worth $300 million. You have to understand, this is my homie. He's acknowledged in my book. That's what you have to do when you're playing the game. That's what you have to understand when you're an entrepreneur. Those misses are gonna come in my career. I look at losing as a positive, mainly because everybody here doesn't like losing because they're worried what other people think about their loss. Yep. I don't care what you think about my losses. My L is my L. You're more than welcome to leave a comment and clown on me when I fail on something, when something doesn't work out. I have good news for you. I don't give up. What you have to say. I swear on my kids' health, I'm obsessed with losing. I love losing because I know exactly what you're thinking about my loss, and I can't wait to stick it in your face when I come back. Be more efficient with what you do to allow you to do more things. Then you don't have to worry about the subjective and non-controllable, like knowing what's good or great. That's the recap. Accountability, my friends. You put accountability on a pedestal, your life will change. Do you know how liberating it is when you realize everything's your fault? It gets real good out here. Anything happens at VaynerMedia that's broken, my fault. You know why? I hired the person. Like, yeah, I get it that Sally's in the face. Guess what? I hired her. I'm obsessed with practicality. Everything I talk about feels so real, it just might take 11 years. And a lot of people don't have 11 years. They don't have 11 years because they're not willing to put in the work to be happy for the rest of their life. They'd rather complain. They'd rather blame somebody else. Team, it was my player teammates' fault. Work, my boss is an idiot. I have never lost and blamed anything else but myself. I love accountability. I love accountability. I'm disrespectful to entitlement, and I put accountability on a pedestal. We want to blame everybody but ourselves. We have zero accountability. You have subconscious bias. Deal with it. Period. When you actually realize everything's your fault, it gets really good out here. Because when you think your boss's boss controls your, when you think somebody down the street in a building controls your, then you get real sad because you feel helpless. When you realize you control your, things go. It doesn't mean that like when I say everything's my fault, it doesn't mean that that's true. It means that it's just a happy place to think about. It feels empowering. You know, like when people get mad at me, they're like, Gary, what about? I'm like, you're right. You know how many of those things happen to me? There's a million outside forces, but like, you know, it's really exciting to be able to think about like, I could possibly do something about this while, to your point earlier, still recognizing like whether it's grieving or being disappointed about it. You have to be able to do that, but it's just, you know, to me, it's like, what's the alternative?
I think accountability is very important.
Oh man, I'm a big fan.
You know?
Everything on you. Everything's your fault. You want to really win in life? You want to get real happy? You know why I'm really happy? Because I think everything's my fault. If I don't like it, I can change. Everything wrong at VaynerMedia, anything that ever happens, any piece of content, anything that ever happens in my life, 100% is my fault. And let me tell you what happens with accountability. You get real happy. When you feel that there's no other source controlling your, all of a sudden it gets happier. If you complain in the first hour I meet you, you're finished.
Yeah.
I think complaining is the tell. And if you ask me right now what's going on with my content, there's a really interesting vibe going on because it must be the cadence of our content. I'm getting so much content from people that are happy out of depression right now, and I cannot tell you how many of them are completely predicated on the fact that they don't make excuses anymore and they've taken 100% accountability. I genuinely think it's the unlock of happiness. When you think it's all your fault, what you realize is that nobody's in control, and all of a sudden you get happy. Well, I just don't know how to complain. I always think somebody has it worse. And if somebody has it worse, you need to shut up. Whoever is the 7.7, if that's the number we're at, whoever's in last place, whoever that person is, if there was a world chart ranking and Sally was dead last, she can talk. The amount of people that decide to spend all their time on pondering and blaming is unbelievably high. What blows me away is how many of you have decided that you're finished, that you're on the back end of your life, that you can't accomplish it. When you start dwelling, you start looking in the wrong direction. Dwelling on what you up on is the quickest way for the next thing not to work. So many of your entrepreneurial and just life ambitions start to dwindle. You start settling in to this is my life, this is how it played out. I could have, I should have. Supposed to be a big time lawyer, supposed to marry the girl or guy of their dreams, supposed to.
Anyone listening to this who's woe is meing right now?
You know what the problem with woe is me? Nobody's listening. My friends, let me tell you who's listening to you complain. Either the 2 or 3 people that kind of have to because they're your parents, or your other losing friends. Stop making excuses. Who the president is, your mom did this, like I missed it. If anybody's made it that looks like you, that's it. That's it. So I think this is about making a decision and not dwelling or pondering on what if, because what ifs cripple people. If you're saying to yourself, then what do? You're never gonna know the alternative. If I could just get you to realize that looking backwards and dwelling on the fact that you didn't do it in your 20s or your 30s or your 40s actually means nothing. The fact that you have a half a century to get yours in this technology world, this isn't just for the kids, my friends. This is our opportunity as well. You have a lot more time than you think. It is super appropriate for you to start that business that you've always wanted right now. You know, take some risks. You've tasted some stuff. You know, happiness is the ROI. Please get the I'm finished or I f***ed up. Like, eliminate dwelling because you're just starting. So instead of sitting in that job for the next 10 years, go do your thing. You've got plenty and plenty of time. Because the number one thing that scares me is regret. And you're gonna sit there at 72 and you're gonna say, I wish, I wish, I wish. And whether that's money or spend more time with your family, there's a million ways to do this. Not everybody wants to buy the jets. Not everybody wants to smoke weed on the beach in Bahamas. Like, everybody's got a different thing. Figure out what your thing is and stop making excuses. Go talk to 5 90-year-olds. If you really listen, all you're gonna hear is regret. Please make this video the call to action, the spark that starts the fire of your career for the next 40 years. I beg you to take a shot. Roll up on that hot chick in a bar and ask her out. Roll up on that good-looking dude and ask him for coffee. Roll up on your business idea and make it happen. Because being 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, and having regrets that you didn't swing the bat is the worst of them all. Our at-bat is in front of us. Take a swing. We now live in a world where transparency has won. Speak the truth. Do the right thing. Kindness is cool. Truth is cool. Don't act like you've made it. Talk about the journey of trying to make it. For me, one of the most interesting things that I watch every day in this space is people think that fake it till you make it is still real. There are so many people posing it because they feel like they have to inflate their backstory or what they're capable of or the advice that they're giving to break out, yet that is the exact same reason that they won't break out. I think too many people want to fake it till they make it or project someone they're not, which is why 99% of people are losing. It's just so crazy, all this fodder in the system that isn't true, all the faking it till you make it as a fashion brand that's a lead, or at what every single 23-year-old male in the world is doing, which is fronting on Instagram because boys want girls. And where I see kids getting caught all day is they're fronting. They're making pretend. They're posturing. Yes. They're faking it till you make it. The problem with faking it till you make it in today's world is you're exposed. Yeah. Right. Yeah. I'll tell you what fake it to make it is. A kid rents a tuxedo, goes to his uncle's best friend's house, rents a Lamborghini, drives it to that house, pays some Instagram models to come and be in bikinis, and then say, this is my life, and you can do this too if you pay me $6,000 to teach you how. Yeah. Fronting, posturing, or my favorite that all of you bought into, fake it until you make it, look the part. Let me tell you, for all the homies that live life looking the part, wearing fake watches and a suit that you can't afford because somebody told you that you have to look the part to win, let me tell you who you're fooling with your look the part. Other losers. I think fake it till you make it internally. You know, trick yourself that you've got it. That's good. I like the delusional thing. Yes. 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 Blind faith. Blind faith. But when you start putting that out to the world, now you're fronting and you're losing equity with the people that you want to. Again, I always tell people you're tricking losers. Like you're losing too much when you fake it till you make it with the A players of the universe. Like nobody's tricking me.
Right.
Like I know you bought your fans, your engagement blows. The quickest way for me to know somebody goes in the L column for life is when they're faking it until they make it. You know, this whole fake it till you make it brings no value to anybody. You need to tell me what you're gonna do, which is very scary because you actually have to execute on it. You know, listen, I always used to say this, it's like doing push-ups. You and I, if we want muscles, you have to do the push-ups. You can't read about doing the push-ups. You can't outsource doing the push-ups. And so there's a reason that people who are authentic and actually doing are winning, because everybody else is trying to figure out the shortcut. Definitely don't overthink it.
Right.
If you're as good of a dude as you think you are, it all works out.
I am authentic to who I am.
Me too, man. I got shortcomings. Like you know, that's all it comes down to. As long as your shortcomings aren't like real.
Right.
Like that's why nobody wants to build their brand, because they're harassing people, because they're stealing money, because they're doing dumb.
Right.
You genuinely have no bad in you, no bad intentions, and you just put it all out there. Yeah, you're gonna end up somewhere good.
That's why this is working for me. I'm growing because the truth is winning more and more. We now live in a world where transparency has won. Speak the truth. Do the right thing. Kindness is cool. Truth is cool. Don't act like you've made it. Talk about the journey of trying to make it. I'm playing the long game, I always have. It's why a lot of you have good relationships with me. I see you at different places. I know who you are, I care, I interact with you. Like, life is simple. Like, the truth wins. You may be confused because times are tough in the media and there's always issues in this country and we got flaws and all that stuff. You're more than welcome to look at the pessimistic aspects of society and life. I choose to, in my 80, 90 years, hopefully on earth, to understand that I got to be a human being, which if you want to talk about big data and math, the rarity of actually becoming a person is insane. 400 trillion to 1. I just want everybody to hear this. This is the reason I'm happy 24/7, 365 for the rest of my life. 400 trillion to 1. The odds of becoming a human being. It's the only way I think about it. Like, what is the matter with people? In the most macro, it's you don't deserve to be here. Like, and I like to use the word deserve because like that makes it like it's ridiculous. Like, it's ridiculous. The whole thing's ridiculous. Yeah, I'm gonna struggle to the day I die of allowing yourself to look at glass half empty. And now I understand it's DNA and it's wiring and it's, you know, if you grow up with a mother who's extremely negative, it's a really tough situation to break out of. It's just proven, I've understood. You grew up in a tough town, I get it. There's a couple of issues with that. Number one, nobody cares. I kind of weirdly want people to pull over right now. I want you to look at that mirror, rear view mirror, right? That's what's called, thank you. I want you to look at it. You need to understand if you look at it, it's your fault.
What do you mean?
Everything in life is on you. That's the big punchline. Like, everybody's got stuff. The problem is nobody cares. And once you understand that nobody cares, and you're complaining to empty air, you start going in a little bit of a different direction. And yeah, I mean, I like putting out positivity. What's happening right now is the small minority of people that are mad and angry and hateful and dark are much louder than the big percentage of us that are happy and excited and feel great. And because of the way technology works, they are much louder than they've ever been before. And so I feel like as somebody who's got full of bright light and happiness, that I need to start getting louder about that as well, because that's the only way we're gonna combat it. And you know what? That right there in real time is what it's all about, because if that's the thing that's gonna get the loudest clap so far from this conversation, that's what we need to be focusing on. I wanna be on the offense of positivity, not dwell, and understand how we got here. There's only so much I can do about being happy and documenting my happy journey. I'm trying to pressure the other people that are happy to talk about it too. I just think we're in a very awkward time. I think it's rubbernecking, and it's just the way it is, right? Like we pay more attention to the negative than the positive. It's just how I feel about the world. Like, I think human beings are the most underrated thing of all time. When I think about our capabilities to eliminate each other, I'm being serious. I know it's kind of a weird place to go, but like the fact that we're still here, we are hardwired in a way that allows us to protect each other in a net game. Negativity is a lot easier to sell. That's why it's working. Like, what I do for a living is much harder. I'm trying to win on positivity, which is the hardest sell. I feel more responsibility than ever as somebody who is happy and wants other people to be happy genuinely, to get louder. And so it's an interesting time in our country's history and just in human society. And so if you leave with anything for any of us, please take on the sense of responsibility that if you've got good and you feel good, to start sharing that content as well, because the world needs more of it.
It's not that you can't, it's that you're not willing to give up dumb for a better life. You're not willing to go.
This is how fast